Hurricane Matthew hitting Georgia right now, but boy, even as it moves up our coast, it's packing strong winds still in Jacksonville tonight. A look at this road sign flying off I-95 at JTB in the last 30 minutes. We were live on the air with you when this happened. It shows you just how strong the wind still is right now, even as the storm moves off our coast up to southeast Georgia.
St. Mary's up in Camden County also hit hard by Hurricane Matthew. A viewer sent us this picture of a boat ramp downtown. You can see it's pretty much underwater there. And meteorologist Mike Burrish and meteorologist Garrett Biedenbaugh, they warned us about that, the potential for a lot of flooding in that area as well. Let's give you some perspective now on how significant flooding has been in parts of Duval County. Viewers sent us these pictures of before and after at Cedar Point Road at Black Hammock. Neighbors say this was the only way. Okay, so there's no before. This is just the after of there's no way at the island there. You can no longer see the road. There's fallen trees right there. Another one leaning over on the power lines as well on the left-hand side of your screen. Matthew has proven to be a deadly storm. There have been 5 deaths reported in Florida, including a woman in Putnam County. In St. Lucie County, we learned that an elderly couple appears to have died from carbon monoxide poisoning while running a generator inside their garage. Yeah, and a woman died in Volusia County after a tree fell on her. And also early this morning, we're told that a woman died in Port St. Lucie after she had a heart attack during the storm, and first responders weren't able to get to her. A lot of water in the area. Here's the very latest now. The First Alert weather team says that the storm has, in fact, moved past our coast, now 50 miles east-southeast of St. Simon's Island, Georgia. In Duval County, power outages have surpassed 225,000 customers, according to JEA's website. Emergency and utility officials say they will go out and assess the damages, but they have to make sure crews are safe outside. That means the winds have to die down. They will attack them fully at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. And we've got crews spread out across the area. We have since yesterday to bring you the most in-depth coverage of Hurricane Matthew as it moves across northeast Florida and southeast Georgia. We're going to start with Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish in the First Alert Weather Center, pinpointing Matthew right down to the second. Yeah, and the hurricane now moving away to the north and northeast. Brand new information from the Hurricane Center on the location of the eye. When it's a threatening land, they give out these location updates every hour, typically, and moving past Jacksonville's latitude and now even moving past Brunswick, in other words, to the north of Brunswick's latitude, which means that for the most part, this storm now passing by Jacksonville and northeast Florida and southeast Georgia. Now, having said that, doesn't mean there's not any impacts yet. Obviously, there are, and they're pretty significant. We'll be talking about that now over the next few minutes, with the hurricane expected to make a landfall now near just east of Savannah. Pretty hard hit, especially from a storm surge standpoint, where there's already storm surge in Savannah reported from Savannah to Charleston. A pretty substantial storm surge, as has been the case with this hurricane all along, and then dropping to the south and west and weakening, but not before revisiting, believe it or not, the northern Bahamas, but staying far away from Jacksonville. So here's the eye now, moving on off to the north and northeast, while the rain underneath it, so to speak, the drier air starts to erode that southern area of rainfall, which is good news. So by 5 a.m., not much is left. Some sprinkles or a few light showers. Still be breezy, and they could uproot trees because it won't take much wind with the saturated ground. At 8 in the morning, there still may be a couple of sprinkles or light showers from Waycross to Brunswick, and then that moves on out, and the clouds start to break up, and we get into some sunshine. Finally, wind speeds, though, are still anywhere from 25 to 35 miles per hour sustained. So, yes, I know if you're without power and it's really quiet out there, you can still hear that wind howling. You're getting tired of it, and you're like, when is this going to go away? What's happening? Well, and remember, by the way, we're still streaming live. So if you have a laptop that's got the potential to still have some battery life, then you can still find us. And News 104.5 WOKV will be going nonstop through the rest of the night, and I'll be jumping in there every once in a while too, and then right into tomorrow to answer viewers and listeners' questions and to get information that's important for you to find out exactly what's going on in your community and how you can get some help if you need it. Wind gusts right now are still 40 to 50 miles per hour across most of Duval County, so there's a lot of wind. Even though the eye is moving away, it's a wide wind field, and there's plenty to track here from a wind and rain standpoint. But we are starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel, at least as far as rainfall goes, Garrett.
Alert Doppler HD. You can see the eye continuing to go off to the north around 10 to 15 miles per hour, and that will continue being that way over the next couple of hours until it makes landfall potentially near, Savannah and the Charleston area. You can see, we can zoom up already, that area being inundated with moderate to heavy rain, already a water level rise there. I've seen pictures out of Charleston, South Carolina, already seeing some of the water make its way into the downtown area, if you're familiar with Charleston there. But also along the I-95 corridor here in southeastern Georgia, still seeing that moderate rain and gusty conditions with our winds. St. Augustine, thankfully no rain falling right now, maybe a bit of mist at times, but that's about it. In Palatka as well, back to say portions of Columbia County, seeing some of that light to moderate rain. Also Nassau County as well. There's Brunswick, Folkestone, seeing some of that moderate rain. The eye about 50 miles to the east of say St. Simon's Island right now. You can see there's the eye wall, the northern edge of the eye wall. There's the center of circulation there. So already seeing and continuing to see those gusty conditions for you in St. Simon's Island. We'll continue monitoring that. But downtown Jacksonville doing just fine here right now. Got some light rain. That is about it. We'll continue monitoring things here, of course, in the First Alert Weather Center. And Mike, conditions still pretty dicey for portions of southeast Georgia.
Yeah, you're right. Southeastern Georgia is where we have the biggest problems yet right now because it's still closest to the eye of the hurricane. So Glynn County hit hard the last few hours since late this afternoon from Thelma to Dock Junction to Brunswick to St. Simon's Island and Jekyll Island. And we're still talking winds 40 to 60 miles per hour, but gusts 70 to 90. A surge of 6 to 12 feet at the coast, rather 8 to 12 feet at the coast, and rainfall of a half foot to a foot, and locally even more. Camden County, a really low area. Woodbine to Kingsland to St. Mary's, also experiencing a lot of rain and a significant storm surge. And I-95 sits really low there between the Camden County line, or the Florida-Georgia border, in other words, and areas north. That's just a big marshy area, but it would appear, based on the storm surge numbers and the orientation of the hurricane, according to the coast, that I-95 would not be covered by water in this particular instance, at least not expected to be. Winds 30 to 50 miles per hour for Ware County, Waycross and Waresboro and Viviani, 30 to 50 mile per hour winds with those higher gusts, and 2 to 5 inches of rain, not as much, but still a lot, so some minor flooding or ponding of water. Brantley County, Nahunta to Hoboken and Waynesville, winds of 30 to 40 miles per hour and 2 to 5 inches of rain, some flooding a possibility. Charlton County, Folkestone and St. George with winds 30 to 40 miles per hour, higher gusts, a little bit of localized flooding with anywhere from 2 to maybe 5 inches of rain, and 2 to 3 inches for Pierce County, especially the eastern part of the county, the heaviest rain around Patterson versus, say, Blackshear, a little bit more to the west, but winds 40 to 50 miles per hour and some higher gusts. Just about anywhere could have a downed tree or two yet additionally tonight, if not more than that, because this wind is really blowing trees and uprooting them with the saturated soil. Now, coastal Florida, the winds are only gradually coming down 30 to 40 miles per hour for another couple of hours with gusts greater than 50, but the rainfall is at least diminishing. The waves are still major at the beaches, 12 to 16 feet, and still breaking, especially at high tide at or over the sand dune line, and storm surge at the next high tide, which is generally 1 to 3 in the morning up and down the coast. Inland areas, so Baker County and Columbia County, Bradford, Union County, western Clay, far western Duval, western Nassau, winds 20 to 35 miles per hour, and just some light rainfall or a few sprinkles are all that's left. Hey, it's the weekend at least, if nothing else, and in the hour-by-hour forecast, and it is important to point out that sunrise is at about 7:15 in the morning, so those of you that are in the dark, literally overnight, because you do not have electricity, the first daylight will be a bit before 7 in the morning, and then by 7:30 to 8 it should be bright again, and the sun will start to emerge in the morning, and then especially in the afternoon, with temperatures near 70 early on, warming into the low 80s in the afternoon, and dry is probably the most important thing. And likewise for Sunday, a pretty day the way it looks, in the 60s early in the morning and around 80 degrees in the afternoon. All of your latest First Alert weather information round the clock, actionnewsjax.com. You can download for free our First Alert weather app, and again, on the radio, News 104.5 WOKV, weather and updated information on Hurricane Matthew and its impacts and how you deal with it after the storm now throughout the night and into the day tomorrow.
Mike, thank you. Just a few minutes ago, we talked about the fact that Hurricane Matthew is now, in fact, a deadly storm here in Florida. Locally, we told you about the Putnam County woman who was killed in her trailer, and now we know that a Jacksonville man was killed tonight during the storm.
Yeah, we understand he was on the roof of his home repairing damage from a fallen tree when he fell off. Action News Jack's Paige Kelson is live with information from the First Alert Storm Desk.
And this is really what we fear so much, because you get some damage on your home, you go out to repair it, and something like this happens. Church leaders at Lakewood Presbyterian Church confirm our reports that one of their parishioners died tonight. His name is Bob McDonald. A friend posted this picture of him on the church's Facebook page with the message, prayers. It's one of almost 36 messages mourning his death. Reverend Terry Lucarelli says McDonald was on the roof at about 1 o'clock this afternoon after a tree put a hole in the roof. He fell because he was out there trying to repair the damage. The Reverend says, quote, he was transported to Memorial Hospital at 3:55. After he was taken off life support, Bob went to his final home. Bob will be missed by our Lakewood family greatly. According to the church's online newsletters, Bob was known for driving the church's bus, helping to pick people up for prayer services. Our thoughts go out to his family tonight and to the many families who have been impacted by this storm.
All right, Paige, thank you very much. Yeah, I was in contact with a friend talking about how this person is a volunteer and just a man of the community, so he will be missed. And so now he is our sixth victim here in Florida from Hurricane Matthew.
Very tragic, and again, our thoughts are with the family and the church and everyone in that community. We're going to keep going now, looking at some damage and some other concerns coming out of Hurricane Matthew over on the west side. That's where Katie McKee went after a family was displaced after a generator fire.
Tanika, this scene was active up until literally a minute ago. JFRD and JSO just left. They had this street, Strato Road here on the west side, blocked off because of a house fire. They did confirm that they had to transport 2 people. JFRD just told us this in the last 15 to 20 minutes, that they had to transport 2 people. There were 10 people in the home. They did also confirm that a generator started this fire. It was on the back porch, and 50% of the home has been destroyed. They said that that's the back end of the home. Now, those 10 people cannot stay there tonight. I did talk to one of the women who lives at the home. She's the homeowner. She told me that the generator somehow started a fire. She said that she just had a baby last June. This is going to be hard on their family. She was very distraught, had gone to the store to get Gatorade and bottles of water for the family. We do not know the conditions of those 2 people. JFRD couldn't tell us the ages, but again, 2 people transported in this house fire, all started by a generator on the back porch. This family is displaced tonight as if it hasn't been a troublesome day for people in our community enough. They now have to be without a home. Anyways, reporting from the west side, Katie McKee, CBS 47, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
All right, just within the last few minutes, Governor Scott tweeted that he's coming to Jacksonville tomorrow to tour the damage in Jacksonville with Mayor Lenny Curry.
Yeah, and we're going to continue now looking at some of the damage over in Mandarin. I'm sorry, at JTB and 295. That's where our Ben Becker is, and he showed us live on TV a sign blowing from the winds there.
That's right, Tanika. As you said, I'm here at JTB and 295, where there was an exit ramp sign here for UNF and for FSCJ, but that sign is not here any longer. We pulled up upon the scene where the sign was badly damaged, and take a look at this video. We were here doing a live report. The wind gusts just started kicking up, and it took what was left of that sign and blew it away. It pinwheeled down the embankment onto an on-ramp below, and that's where the sign rests now. The sign, not where it once was, and I want to come back out and take a look where it is. You see one large part of the sign on this on-ramp road that goes on to JTB. I've seen about a dozen cars drive over it so far. Many of those cars are hitting their brakes soon after they hit it. They don't know what they just ran over. That sign is still there, that part. Then there's at least 2 other parts down here. You see one along the embankment here, and then closer to me, you see a 3rd part of this sign. This sign just snapped. It couldn't take the wind any longer, and that's just one part of this. Now, it was attached, one part of the sign was attached to this huge pole. Okay, you see this huge beam, which is probably about 25 feet up, and just to give it some context, a basketball rim is about 10 feet high. So you're talking about maybe 2.5 times the height of a basketball rim. So it was remaining on this large steel beam. So you're asking, where's the other beam? Here it is, on the ground. It's snapped. There it is lying. This was once the base, and this was once where it was attached. So just to tell you how strong just give you an indication how powerful these winds are. It snapped a steel beam from its metal base off concrete and snapped it down an embankment. And all that's left here are a bunch of screws. That's all that's remaining is this piece of cement, this steel beam, and 3 parts of what once used to be an exit ramp sign for FSCJ and UNF. Now, we were told about 45 minutes ago that JSO were on their way out here, making their way out here to try to remove this sign from the roadway because it's a clear and present danger to anybody who's driving. They haven't come out here yet. I'm sure they have a lot of other things they're looking at right now, but once they come out this way, we will be here to show you that and stay on top of the situation. And anyone who's driving in this area, first off, you don't want to be out driving, but if you decide to come out, keep in mind that you have this large sign resting in the middle of this on-ramp leading to JTB. Reporting live on the south side, Ben Becker, CBS 47, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
All right, Deanna Betneschi has been live for us up in St. Mary's, Georgia for basically all day and all evening and now, and we want to see what the situation is there as Matthew continues to move up Georgia's coast.
Well, for the last half hour or so, it's been extremely breezy, a lot of wind gusts, but it's died down almost a little bit right now. It's also still rainy, but the same thing. The rain isn't as bad as it was about a half hour ago. It's more like a heavier mist at this point. It sort of goes back and forth between a heavy mist and then some raindrops. I also went downstairs. We're on the 3rd floor right now, so we could stay away from the surge if there was one that was coming back here. Went down to the 1st floor with my light, took a look around and saw that just downstairs there, the sides of the roads are still flooded. However, the middle is clear. That's where we just saw an officer just drive down about 15 minutes ago. Camden County had a 10 o'clock curfew tonight. So we saw him driving down the road. We saw someone was down a little bit further and stopped them, turned them around, and headed them back towards 95 area. So we know that it's not as bad as it was earlier. We want to show you some of that video from earlier. There were people out in kayaks, and it was very dangerous because the storm was still very strong at that point. It was really breezy. I remember I could still see it blowing around. There was a lot of debris in the water, so that was a scary situation there. I also want to give you guys a reminder. I put the number on my Twitter. It's for the number of a group from Kings Bay. It's a group that's going to help families relocate and find each other from the evacuation. So that's up there. We'll also have it posted on actionnewsjax.com. Reporting live in St. Mary's, Georgia, Deanna Betneschi, Fox 30 and CBS 47, Action News Jax.
And we're going to go to Amber Kriska, who was actually over at Clark's Fish Camp. We showed you flooding there yesterday before Matthew had even moved in.
And now we've got Matthew flooding. Take a look.
Well, this is an area that's known to flood, and you better believe it is. Now take a look just how deep it is on my legs right here. This is as far as I'm going to go, just because it keeps getting deeper and deeper, and it's pretty dark to see just how deep it gets. But an ATV just went through this water right here, stopped right in the middle. I think he kind of got stuck. It was pretty high on that ATV, and he reversed and went back. Again, a lot of vehicles aren't attempting to drive through this area because it's so deep. A lot of people, though, coming out to see, take pictures, curious to see what it looks like out here, including this family right over here. Hey guys, you live near, right? Hi.
Hi.
You live near, right?
We do. We live a couple blocks from here, and we just wanted to come out here and see what it's like. We tried to take a walk down here and come out here and visit from time to time, and it is flooded. Absolutely a mess.
And this is Clark Fish Camp is an area you come to a lot.
We do. We come here often and have dessert here. It's where we take our walks in the evenings and come down here, and as a family we come down, and it's even dog friendly, so we'll take our dog out here and come out here and have something.
You know, I got kind of scared because you said gators when I was in the water.
They have gators here, don't they? Do you remember when you saw the gator in the water? How big was that gator?
That big.
It was a
oh,
baby
it was that
gator.
big. All right, well, I better stay out of that water, right?
Don't see it coming.
Dangerous water, all right. Reporting at Clark's Fish Camp, Amber Kriska, CBS 47, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
All right, we've got some damage on the west side as well. Larry Spruill is reporting there for us now.
Yeah, John, it's pretty difficult, and it's just a lot of damage out here. As a matter of fact, I wanted to show you what I'm talking about here. You take a look at this sign. You can see that H dangling off of this cord at the Hibbett Sports Store. Also, take a look at here. This piece of the roof is gone. That's because it's here on the ground. Now, I'll try to pick it up myself to kind of see what we're talking about here. This is very large pieces of the roof. It looks pretty small up there, but very large pieces that fell off and is just hanging or just laying on the ground now. We spoke to several JSO officers as they rolled by. They were also surprised at the damage here, but take a look. They did some boarding up on the doors here at Hibbett Sports, but once again, that H is just dangling on this cord. These section of the roof is missing. Also, this part of the roof right here is missing. You can kind of see inside of it. So this is a lot of damage that the employers and co-workers here will have to clean up first thing in the morning, or maybe first thing Monday morning as well. We're live on the west side tonight. Larry Sproul, CBS 47, Fox 30, Action News Shacks.
All right, Larry, thank you very much. We've talked a lot about Amelia Island later this evening as the storm caused some real problems up there. And Paige Kelton is in our storm center now, the storm desk, with some pictures from social media in that area.
Well, we were worried about Amelia Island because, remember, John, it was during the storm that they said anybody still on the island, leave now. And you never hear of another evacuation call during a storm like that. They were so worried about the rising water. So we've been on social media communicating with people. And this is what, they want to know what's happening here. So we found this video. This is Fernandina Beach. This is right near the marina. It looks like it's right near downtown, I believe. But you see how high the water is. So it's into stores. It's into any homes that might be nearby there. Again, that is Fernandina, near the marina. Okay, now we have some flooding on Center Street. Okay, there's some trees down. This is driving up Center Street, downtown Fernandina. And it doesn't look so bad. We see some water ponding right in the center there, but certainly not the storm surge rush, of water into businesses there. You see, it looks like maybe some garbage cans in the street there, but that is Center Street. That was as of daylight, so several hours ago. And then Amelia Island. Let's take you on to Amelia Island. This is flooding. This is just a single shot, and there's not much information about where it is. But this was taken this afternoon during the height of the storm on Amelia Island. People wanting information about Fernandina, wanting information about South Ponte Vedra. At this point, we just haven't been able to get in there. We have reporters roaming around Jacksonville Beach right now, kind of staying together, and that's on purpose because there is no power, there is no lights. We don't want our crews wandering out into these dark neighborhoods where there might possibly be live power lines. So first light, I think that's when we're going to be able to start branching out into some of these other communities, Mayport, down A1A into Ponte Vedra, and we'll start getting those images. But we're going to continue to work through the night to get you that information because we know you want to get home.
Absolutely, Paige. And Michael Yoshida's in the First Alert Storm Tracker, and he was trying to get into Ponte Vedra Beach on A1A, but St. Johns County deputies were there blocking the road there. So, and we still haven't heard why. Maybe you can look into why that is the case, because we know that A1A has been washed away in parts of Flagler County, south of St. Johns there, and we know that there's been some issues along A1A, but we don't know exactly. But what we do know is what Paige just said, and that is first light. That's when authorities will have a better chance to look at what's happened, and the water will have hopefully receded for the most part in those areas, so that we can then have those folks tell us it's safe and we can go in and take a look.
And it's also still dangerous out there. I mean, Chief Meteorologist Mike Burris said things would start to kind of die down in our area after midnight. And we just saw less than an hour ago Ben Becker live on television showing us a massive road sign over there at 295 and JTB. We're bringing in Chief Meteorologist Mike Burris now. And he showed us a live shot, said, hey, the sign is dangling. We went back to him maybe 2 minutes later, and the sign, as he was talking, flew off on live TV. Rapid speed, that could have hit a car. It could have hurt him. He said he just ran. They were standing right beside it. So it is still dangerous out there because the system is still moving. We're still feeling the effects.
Right, it's a lot of wind, and it's just slowly beginning to drop off now, that wind. So it's the eye of the hurricane is moving on off to the north and east. And here is that video of the sign that you guys are talking about that took off there. It didn't even look like a sign, did it?
It looked like a sail. It
Piece
looked
of
like a
paper,
sail,
yeah.
you know, in the wind. That's
And
what it was.
it could have gone onto the main road, but it ended up on an off-ramp, still dangerous. And the whole time, Mike and John, we saw cars driving through that area.
Yeah.
So this could have really been
If
bad.
you've ever touched one of those or seen one of those, it almost feels like aluminum cans.
Yeah,
It's
right.
really lightweight, thin metal. It's thicker than that, I guess, but it's not much thicker. But yeah.
All right, well, Matthew now is headed on off to the north and east and moving away, but again, I've been talking about it all night long. It's not like just flipping a switch. We've had a massive upheaval of our ocean and the atmosphere, and it just takes a while for it to settle down again, to calm down, and that'll be true through the weekend, so the winds aren't going to be quick to shut off, so to speak, or diminish, in other words, until late tonight and into early tomorrow morning. Even then, it'll still be breezy, but not as windy as it is now. There'll likely be some more tree damage and maybe power lines. And the seas and surf, that'll take even longer to calm down. It will be dangerous at the beaches tomorrow. And, of course, the best advice, they're closed anyway, but the best advice is to stay away from the beaches, certainly through tomorrow and really probably through Sunday. Wind speeds now are generally 20 to 30 miles per hour. Mayport's been reporting on and off. Every once in a while it'll pop on. I'm assuming that's weather related. And the wind gusts are still 52 miles per hour in Arlington, 43 miles per hour at the International Airport, 48 miles per hour at Orange Park. So here's your hour-by-hour wind forecast. And I know we're tired of those winds, but it's going to take a little while. Midnight, still 30 to 40 mile per hour winds across the area. And by early tomorrow morning, it is still breezy. And wind speeds like this, and some places it'll be a little bit lower, especially inland, but wind speeds like this will cause some more tree damage, and then finally dropping off to around 15 to 20 miles per hour, if not a little less, by very late in the afternoon and early in the evening. Here goes the center of Matthew, which is really starting to lose its definition. The dry air is really undercutting the southern portion of this circulation, which is good for us because it's drier air, no rain, or very little rain now for northeast Florida. But because we have dry air now, we don't have an inversion set up closer to the surface because we have this dry air aloft, and it can get pushed down to the surface a little bit easier, the upper level winds that are pretty strong yet. So that's one of the reasons it's still windy. The center will continue to move northward toward or just a little east of Savannah. Heavy rain over southeastern Georgia will be breaking up here over the next couple of hours. And for northeast Florida, just some light showers and sprinkles with little to add to the rain gauges. But still a few bands of showers in here. Lake City to near Gainesville, and some more moving into Palatka and the west side of Jacksonville to McClenny, and then also down over southwestern portions of St. Johns County. A couple of sprinkles near the downtown area now, and that's about it. But you know what? Matthew's been around for, seems like forever, but it has been a long time, about 10 days. Garrett is going to kind of give us a little history on it.
Yeah, the September 28th was when it was upgraded to a tropical cyclone from the National Hurricane Center. We were watching it days before that as it was coming off as a tropical wave for the west coast of Africa, and then continuing through the Lesser Antilles and the Eastern Caribbean. And then we were talking about that all-important crossroads where it would go back to the north, and it did that through and just to the east of Cuba, near Cuba, through the Bahamas, and then skirting up the coast, but not officially making landfall in the state of Florida. So Wilma, still the last major hurricane to make landfall in 2005 in the state of Florida. Continuing to track Matthew and the after effects here in the First Alert forecast.
When Hurricane Matthew threatened, more people turned to Action News Jax on social media.
You guys are awesome. Thanks for staying up to keep us updated. Trust me, I so appreciate the round-the-clock coverage.
Action News Jax on Facebook, your most trusted source for weather updates, videos, and photos.
Your team is doing a great job, Action News.
Gotta love Mike Burge. He's the most informative meteorologist ever.
Thank you for putting your trust in us. Action News Jax, your safest place to be during a storm.
To sample the world's most delicious fresh seafood dishes, you can take a boat, or a plane, or a train. Or you can just let us pack you a bag. Publix Seafood Cook-in Bag Dinners. Choose your favorite seafood, then choose the internationally inspired flavors to pair it with. Pack a bag for adventure tonight at Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
I spent many years as a nuclear missile launch officer. If the president gave the order we had to launch the missiles, that would be it. I prayed that call would never come. Self-control may be all that keeps these missiles from firing.
I would bomb the out of them. I want to be unpredictable. I love war.
The thought of Donald Trump with nuclear weapons scares me to death. It should scare everyone.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
Do you know with teeth on the day, all on fours or hybrid techniques, you only get a temporary set of teeth, and then many visits, and months later, you finally get permanent teeth? Today, I'd like to introduce you to the D4 Ultra Express. With the D4 Ultra Express, you truly get permanent teeth anchored by dental implants in just 24 hours. So you can get permanent teeth with these older procedures in 7 months. Or with the D4 Ultra Express, you can really have permanent teeth in 24 hours. Call us today for your free consultation.
You're watching Action News Jax, continuing coverage of Tracking Matthew.
Florida Governor Scott tweeted earlier this evening that he is headed to Jacksonville to tour the damage with Mayor Lenny Curry. He's also started setting up housing for utility crews in areas across the state like Camp Blanding.
Yeah, the large military base that spans Clay and Bradford counties is now able to house more than 1,000 utility workers and their trucks, which is important. You got to have them in the right positions. Action News Jax has team coverage of this dangerous and deadly hurricane. We have crews spread out across the viewing area to get the information you need to keep your family safe. We begin with our Danielle of Vidable checking out some flooding in Jacksonville Beach.
Yes, I'm over here at 1st and 8th Avenue in what's supposed to be a parking lot. Right now, I am standing on what appears to be a portion of the boardwalk that flew off and landed right here in this parking lot. Huge chunk of this boardwalk right here. Now, we're going to take a walk through this parking lot and see what we could find. There is a lot of sand. I mean, this parking lot basically turned into a beach. You could see that when the storm surge brought up all that water, it also brought up a lot of sand. I can't even, let's see if I could even hit the parking lot right now, the pavement. Okay, there we go. There's the pavement right there. So a couple inches of sand that we got right here. All right, let's take a walk. Take a walk over here. You could see the middle part is flooded. There's a lot of water right here. It's about ankle deep in the middle of this parking lot. The outer parts of the parking lot, not flooded as much, but they're full of sand. I mean, there is, especially on this side over here, there is a lot of sand. I don't even know if I would be able to reach the parking lot or the pavement on this side. There's also a lot of debris that was brought up with that storm surge. Just take a look at all this debris, and we are dealing with a lot of wind still over here. You know, there's what do we have right here? Okay, just a piece of wood, piece of tree right there. And look over here, 2 cars stuck, half of the tire, underneath all of this sand, underneath the water. I mean, these people are not going to be happy when they come to their cars tomorrow, I could tell you that. Look at that. 2 cars stuck here, and look at all this sand. I mean, this is just an island in the middle of the parking lot, an island over here on 8th Ave. So there's the beach right here. So that kind of puts things into perspective, just how far this storm surge traveled and how much sand that it brought with it. Here's a bunch more debris from the ocean, a lot of seaweed that was brought from that storm surge. We're going to walk over here to see what else we could find that was brought in from that storm surge. Here is I think there's a driftwood over here, actually. Yeah, a huge chunk of driftwood. I'm not even going to attempt to even move that. That is very heavy, but a huge chunk of driftwood that was brought in. That just goes to show just how powerful these winds were, how strong that storm surge was. But yeah, this parking lot, I think over here, there's another piece of that boardwalk that was taken from 8th Avenue. Winds getting very strong here, if you could hear me through all of this. But here's another chunk, what appears to be the boardwalk. Now, I just got done talking to Fish and Wildlife Commissions. They were out here. They're kind of surveying the damage. And they told me the lifeguard station, a couple streets over, got the worst hit. There's a lot of stuff over there. And they said it even looks like there's pieces of the pier that's over there on that street. So we're actually going to go, we're going to wrap up here, and we're going to go down and we're going to check out that area to see what we could see over there. And we'll have that for you in our next hit. For now, in Jacksonville Beach, Danielle Vidable, CBS 47, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
Compelling stuff there with Danielle, and you know, you see all that sand, you forget, you see all the water, you forget that they're bringing, the water's bringing in sand with it as well.
Yeah, you know, she talked about how, you know, she showed us the sand in the cars there.
Yeah.
We're hearing about parts of maybe the pier on another street, and she's discovering this stuff at night. So you just imagine, once we get some sunlight out there, what we're going to find.
Well, and we documented during the storm the surge and the waves just enveloping the end of the pier. So we've shown you the video of the pier being damaged towards the end, and it would not surprise me if chunks of the pier were. Mike's over there in the Severe Weather Center.
49 miles per hour at the pier just now.
A wind gust of 49 miles an hour still right now at the Jacksonville Beach Pier. Incredible stuff. All right, farther north of Jacksonville Beach is Atlantic Beach, and that is where Bridget Matter wrote out the storm for us there. She reports live for us now, and see if the situation's improving there. Bridget.
Hey, like you said, those winds, they are still really high, and we're even being blocked by a building, but we can still feel those strong gusts. And I did walk out to the street to check out Atlantic Boulevard. It's still pretty flooded here on this end, as you can imagine. Let's look at that video from earlier today. You can see that storm surge coming in really strong, flooding those streets. Really incredible video that we were able to capture near One Ocean of those waves rolling in during that storm surge. We also have video, I don't know if you guys can pull that up, of the Jacksonville Pier. Portions of it are damaged now, and like John said, it's really going to be incredible to see what we can see tomorrow once it is daylight again, and once it's not as windy or raining. A lot of other things that we saw today, debris floating in that water, because not only did the pier get damaged, but also those walkways that you use to get onto the beach, those were kind of eaten up by those waves. So there were big pieces of wood that were floating along the coastline, floating through the streets as well. We also saw portions of the siding on some of the hotels around here and homes being ripped off. Those were also floating through the streets as well. Now, one thing that we did witness today here just outside the hotel, I met a guy who has lived here for 20 years, and he said that he was going around and finding dogs, and he's going to put those dogs on Facebook tomorrow in hopes that owners will see them and they'll be able to be reunited with their pets. So hoping to see people kind of coming together in the community and helping each other. Back to you guys.
All right, Bridget, thank you very much. Kevin Clark back down in Jacksonville Beach, weathered the storm 5 stories up, and watched as, again, kind of walked us through as the Jacksonville Beach Pier was getting hammered by those waves.
Conditions are still very intense here at Jax Beach, as we want to give you a kind of a bird's eye view of what's going on here. You can see police officers, Jacksonville Beach police officers, cruising down the road here. They've been doing checks up and down the street, including on the beach as well, to make sure there aren't any people out here, because again, conditions are still pretty poor out here in terms of, number one, you're looking at pitch darkness, and number 2, we still have extremely strong winds and the threat that there could be flying projectiles, trees, anything else that could fall, because wind's still pretty strong here. You may be able to hear those gusts of wind that have caused some damage. The one damage we want to pull up is some video of the Jax Beach Pier. You can see the end of the pier. There is some damage to it in terms of the railings on, it looks like, the side of one of the railings on the side and another on the back side of Jax Beach Pier. Of course, Jax Beach Pier, Jax Beach Pier, they rebuilt it in 1999 after Hurricane Floyd came through. This damage not nearly as extensive, and we haven't gotten the full extent of what the damage is, but that'll be for Jacksonville Beach officials to assess when there is some actual daylight here, and that is as well as the assessment of other damages and letting people back home into their properties. A lot of that is to be determined right now, but we're dealing with a dark, pitch black Jacksonville Beach right now. We will bring you all of the latest on air and online of the conditions here of Jacksonville Beach. But for now, reporting in Jacksonville Beach, Kevin Clark, CBS 47, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
All right, thank you, Kevin. And now we're going to go down to St. Augustine, where our Lorena Inkland went to a shelter to see how families were adjusting.
Right now, I'm inside Mill Creek Elementary School, one of the other shelters here in St. Johns County, just off of International Gulf Parkway. As you can see, there is electricity here in this building. I spoke to an evacuee just a moment ago who says they've had power pretty much the entire time and that they've really been treated really well here. They've been fed. He was here with his family as well. And I just spoke to some of the volunteers here, the principal of this school and other people inside who are evacuees, and the stories are just incredible. A lot of them are camera shy, and we're only allowed to go this far because there are people with special needs and babies in there, and they didn't really want to be on camera, which is completely understandable. You got to keep in mind that a lot of these people don't know if they're going to have a home to go back to, so obviously we want to be respectful of their space and privacy. They are here displaced. It's a frustrating situation for everybody, but I can tell you that strangers, complete strangers in there, are becoming friends, helping each other out, and really just coming together here at Mill Creek. Take a listen to what one evacuee told me just a moment ago.
We had power just about all the time, very little short periods without power. You know, all the staff here treated us real good, you know, had meals for us and everything.
I'm told that just under 90 evacuees remain here at Mill Creek. There are considerably more evacuees at some of the other larger shelters, and many of the people still staying here are in the barrier islands where they can't get to right now because the bridges are being blocked off by the National Guard. Reporting in St. Augustine, Lorena Inclan, CBS 47, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
And you know, Lorena hit it right on, right? There's a silver lining to all of this, is that in these worst of times, we all kind of come together.
We do.
And it's nice to be reminded of that every now and again.
And that's what's going to get us through.
Absolutely. All right, Ben Becker has shown us some really remarkable wind strengths over the last hour or two, I guess it really has been now, over at 295 and JTB here on the south side, actually. And Ben, you're still waiting on JSO to show up to remove that sign from the ramp?
Remarkable is the exact perfect word for this, because we came upon the scene here at JTB in 295 and came upon a sign that was teetering on the edge of blowing away. It was on a steel beam here, and as we were talking about it and it was flopping in the wind, we went away from our live shot for a little bit, and then when we came back, the sign had left that steel beam and blew off onto the guardrail that's here along JTB. Again, it leads to 295. So it was resting on this guardrail. It was hanging over the road into JTB when all of a sudden, and then a huge gust of wind came by and blew the sign all the way off the guardrail, down an embankment, onto an on-ramp that leads onto JTB. It was just an amazing sight and just, again, remarkable to give you an indication of how strong the winds are out here from Hurricane Matthew. Now, take a look. This is what the scene is like right now. The sign I'm talking about was an exit sign on the side of the road, a huge sign for UNF and FSCJ. Here it is in three parts. One part is laying almost perfectly on the road on this on-ramp onto JTB. That's part one. Part two, you see a little bit of the FSCJ sign that's tattered here on the embankment. Here's part three is there. As I'm saying this, look who's pulling up. FHP is here, as well as it looks like the Florida Department of Transportation. Now, we told you about 45 minutes ago, an hour ago, that we contacted law enforcement and the Department of Transportation and told them about this sign, how it was interfering with the road, how it was laying in the middle of the road, how it was a hazard for drivers. And by my count, I've seen about a dozen drivers go over that sign while we've been out here. And you're seeing now live on CBS 47 Fox 30 Action News Jax, law enforcement and FDOT out here to remove this sign from the middle of the road, because there's anything could happen. If we get more wind, there's no telling what could happen with this sign. If it could blow off, it hits someone, or someone drives over that sign and somehow punctures their tires, which to this point it doesn't appear that's the case, but there is a backside to the sign where it looks like there's screws that do come up, and that's not a situation where you want people driving over that. We tell everybody, stay inside, and stay inside. But as evidenced by that sign, if we could show that video one more time, if you want to know a reason why it's not safe to be out driving around tonight, this is the reason why. You take a look how that sign blew around. A flying projectile, very dangerous. Even if you're not outside, if you're in your car, if that sign would have blown the other way towards JTB, there was no telling what it could have done to somebody. Now, if we can come back out live, and once again, there's State Patrol, State Trooper, FHP, as well as FDOT. And this is a situation that I'm sure at least FDOT, they're well familiar with, that they know exactly what they need to do in a situation where they need to get something that's been laying in the road and pull it out and get it out safely. Now, I want to also show you what the sign was attached to, okay? Here is about a 25-foot steel beam that was one part of the support structure for this sign, okay? And here is the other support beam that's no longer, okay? It's snapped at the bottom. This is how strong the winds were. And this was the base for this steel beam, okay? This is steel and concrete we're talking about. And it's snapped off like a twig. And all that's left are some of these screws, some broken metal, and a snapped sign down there. Now let's go and take another look. And there are members of FDOT that have that sign, and fortunately now pulling that sign off the road to get it out of the way from any cars that could come through here. And now, again, just to remind you, we're at JTB and 295. This is an on-ramp that comes onto JTB. Now, there's some debris that looks like they're just about able to get that sign off the road and get it onto that embankment. The question remains, are they going to do anything with these signs once they're on this embankment? Are they going to take them away, or are they just going to leave them here? There's really no telling what they're going to do. They have, looks like, 2 pickup trucks, and by the looks of it, I don't think they have the size really to take these signs away. I think these signs are just going to have to sit on the side of the road, and I'm not sure exactly what they can do to keep the signs from blowing away if they leave them on the side of the road. So this is something that we're going to have to, once try to get more information from them, exactly what you're supposed to do. What do you do in a situation like this other than move the signs off the road? And you have to appreciate the work they're doing as well. This is dangerous work. You're coming out in the middle of a hurricane. We're still getting strong winds, and these men are coming out here and moving heavy signs off a road that's leading to an interstate. And we appreciate the effort there. Hey guys, everything good? Is it going to stay there? Is it going to stay there?
So the company that takes care of this comes out and gets it.
Oh, so the police are going to come take that away?
No, DVI.
Who?
DVI.
Who's that?
The company that takes care of the sign.
So the company that takes care of the sign is responsible for removing it? So that's what I'm being told. The company that owns these signs are responsible for taking them away. So that's another little angle. That's a nugget we just got there for you here, again, live on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action News Jax. So these signs are going to stay here until the company responsible for removing them comes out and gets them. Now, whether that's tonight, tomorrow, next week, that remains to be seen. So that's just one more thing. I'm going to go down and I'm going to talk to these gentlemen a little bit more and try to get a little bit more information for you, and also go to talk to FHP as well to see if there's any more information I can gather for you about the signs and the situation here along JTB and 295. Reporting live on the south side, Ben Becker, CBS 47, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
Yeah, I'm sure this is just one of many instances where we know for a fact you were talking about JSO tweeting multiple different incidents that they have to deal with today.
Yeah, I mean, the last 40 minutes, I counted 8 tweets alone about live wires being down. And, Ben was talking about, the importance of staying off the roads. This is why they want you to stay indoors. Right now, first responders, professionals who will work in the storm, they are out and about. And even then, they can only do it in intervals when it's safe. So, for example,
you said 40 minutes and eight incidents there, and that's
just the wires.
Just what they're tweeting,
Tree down on Trout River. Old Plank Road was blocked because of trees and power lines. Let's see, one of the more recent ones, 6000 Dunn Avenue, a tree blocking the road. 856 DePaul Drive, wires down. A new tweet right now as I'm on air. they're just, you know, people are thanking them for giving them all these alerts about these wires down.
JFRD has been very busy. They've been tweeting as well.
Very busy. But it's important for people to know these are, like you said, this is just what we're tweeting. This is just what they're tweeting. The magnitude of this will continue to develop overnight, and that's going to lead to some power outages, and that's going to require a lot of patience.
Yeah, I mean, power outages really are still growing, believe it or not. The storm has been gone now for a while, and right now, JEA reporting 232,000 customers without power. Clay has at 62,000 customers without power. They did get their reporting issues corrected, so Clay County Electric can now take in the reports of power outages, so that number has grown substantially over the last hour. And again, 232,000 customers without power in Duval County, just still growing. And again, it's because the wind is still too strong for the crews to get out and start, you know, fixing some of these outages.
And some people trying to remedy the situation by trying to get their own power going using generators, and we've seen some incidents from that. A family displaced tonight, John, after a generator fire.
Yeah, rescuers took 2 people to the hospital as well. Katie McKee reports from the west side on that.
I'm standing here on Strato Road, and around 10 o'clock, JSO and JFRD finally left this scene, something that they had blocked off for hours because of a house fire. And I want to show you some video that we got earlier. They first responded here around 8:30. JFRD tells us, they confirmed to us that 2 people were transported. 10 people were actually staying in the home at the time of that fire. JFRD also said that a generator was the cause for this fire. The generator was on the back porch, caused a lot of damage to the back part of the home. Those 10 people had to go find somewhere else to be tonight. I actually spoke to a woman who lives in the home. She tells me she has a 4-month-old child. She says that she figured it was the generator, but wasn't 100% sure until firefighters were going to be able to confirm that. She had a lot of Gatorade, Powerade, water in her hand. She had just went to the store. She was trying to figure out what they were going to do for the evening. Pretty sad out here to know that these folks have been through so much today, and that the communities have been going through so much with the Hurricane Matthew impact in our areas. This neighborhood still without power. Those folks had no power, which is why they had that generator on in the first place. Again, 2 people were transported. There were 10 people in the home at the time. We're working to get ages and you know, to find out exactly what happened with those people and if they are in serious condition or not. Until we will get that and put that on actionnewsjax.com. Reporting from the west side, Katie McKee, CBS 47, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
We continue to get damage reports. Larry Spruill's checking out damage on the west side to the Walgreens there, but actually a bunch of businesses there.
Yeah, John, we also thought we were part of some power outages because since we got back out here, the power went off for about 30 seconds and came back on, then went back off again. But let me show you some of the damage we did not show you the last time. We just found out ourselves. Take a look at the side of this Walgreens. You can see the whole entire side is just completely gone besides that piece of panel right there, but it's just missing. It seems like all of this right here fell on the ground over here, a completely different very large pieces that have came off the roof. I'm trying to drag it myself, but you can see how large these pieces are. So this is a lot of cleanup. The cleanup will probably start for people here at Walgreens first thing tomorrow morning or sometime during the weekend, because obviously you cannot reopen the store and have all this on the ground here. But there's a lot of damage out here at just this Walgreens alone. Reporting live on the west side, Larry Spruill, CBS 47, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
Thank you very much, Mike Bursch. You've been busy for the last, I think you've probably lost track, haven't you, sir?
Well, I've at least lost sleep.
Yeah, but tracking this thing from the beginning, from the first remnants
really
of
from a week and a half ago, as we were talking about.
At least, because that's when it was born, was a week ago Wednesday, but it was a wave off Africa the weekend before that, so it's really coming on 2 weeks since it came off the coast of Africa. In fact, I'm glad you asked, because you know what I have for you?
What?
The track from its inception over the eastern. You're impressed, aren't you?
I am, because the storm has been so interested in its evolution.
Exactly. There you go. Thank you. And so you can see the storm as it moved off, the wave, as it moved off the coast of Africa. Again, it's a wave. It's a deep tropical wave. This is classic, what we call a Cape Verde storm. It's what we study in college all the time. That was just a few years ago, of course. And thank you, John. As the waves coming off Africa, it's an area of thunderstorms. And if everything's just right over some very warm water, it can start to rotate, and the thunderstorms start to become more organized. It's a tropical wave. wave. It was upgraded to a tropical depression, then right over the central Atlantic on Wednesday, September 28th. Garrett, correct? Okay, September 28th. So then it was working its way westbound. The Bermuda high is doing its thing here over the central Atlantic. It was strong. It was strong all summer long. And this was one of our big concerns, quite honestly, was that we'd get a big high pressure area, the Bermuda high, to hold sway over the middle of the Atlantic, get one of these strong tropical waves to develop, and then march westward toward the Caribbean. And lo and behold, Matthew was the one. And it became a hurricane then as it moved into the eastern Caribbean and really strengthened fast, becoming a Category 5 hurricane over the central Caribbean on Friday night. It'd be a week ago tonight since that occurred, and that was the first Category 5 hurricane in the Atlantic Basin since Felix of 2007. Then a sharp north turn there, and this is what just was so bad for Haiti, and the violent right or eastern quadrant of the hurricane, and then it moved over the eastern edge of Cuba up through the northwestern Bahamas, made a move toward the Florida coast, but never quite made landfall, and then it pushed to the north and northeast, and now it's going to be a Category 2 landfall the way it looks between Savannah and Charleston, with major storm surge perhaps late tonight into tomorrow, then a little bit of a loop, but at least weakening before it tries to revisit the Bahamas. Isn't that an amazing lifespan there, starting off the coast of Africa and now going to do a loop and go back to the Bahamas about the middle of next week? That means it will have been, by that point, going for a couple of weeks at least. Here are the rainfall totals. This is just today, more than 6 inches for Jacksonville. That's a daily record. Also for Arlington, more than 6 inches. 5.5 Orange Park. Mayport missing because their gauge is broken from the storm today. About 4 inches in St. Augustine. 3.4 so far for Brunswick. And realize many of these areas had a lot of rain the last few days, so the rainfall totals for the week are 10, 15, 20 inches in some cases. Far less when you get farther to the west. Lake City, 0.7 of an inch. Still blowing out there, though, this evening, Garrett.
And 30 miles per hour sustained winds at Orange Park, 33 on the west side, 20s. And as we go through JIA, still gusting to 43 miles per hour. 52 still on the south side, 41 on the west side of the upper 40s in Orange Park. What this means is there could still be some of those trees with the saturated soil to fall down, and hopefully not on any power lines. Let's take you through the hour-by-hour wind forecast, continuing to die down as we go through your Saturday morning, but still 20 to 25 miles per hour sustained, especially in our coastal areas. Lake City pretty much dying down for good there with Matthew, as far as Matthew's concerned. But there's First Alert Doppler HD, still showing a few isolated, widely scattered showers over northeast Florida. Bulk of the activity pushing into northeastern Florida as we await a potential landfall in the Carolinas. Again, St. Augustine, we're seeing some of that light to moderate rain at times. We'll have over 4 inches of rain. Mike, the hour-by-hour weekend forecast, so important.
Oh, it is so important. And this is a chance to clean up. You guys have some sun in the morning and get some light because the electricity's out in so many spots. It'll be near 70. And the good news is not too hot this weekend, which is critical for those that are going to be without power all weekend long. At least it won't be so demanding such that it'll be warm in your home, but at least it won't be boiling hot and real humid. The drier air will allow temperatures to drop off at night well down into the 60s. Afternoon highs around 80. Some clouds to begin the morning tomorrow. It'll be breezy, but plenty of sun by afternoon and plenty of sun then to end the weekend on Sunday. That, at least, is some good news. John, Tanika?
All right, Mike. Thank you. Yeah, we talked about storm surge throughout this whole thing. Take a look at what it did to A1A in Flagler County. This is remarkable as well. You've got a road that clearly was on the beach there, essentially, or is now on the beach. You've got half of A1A right there washed back into the ocean.
Yeah. And let's take a look now. This is Fernandina, the Marine Restaurant. You can see much of that street underwater there.
And now we want to take a look at Waycross, and again, as Matthew moves north, you can see in the middle part of your 3 screens on the right where it is currently, and that's still bringing a lot of wind and rain. This was from a couple of hours ago, but you can see still inland it's causing problems in Waycross.
We want you to continue to track Hurricane Matthew right along with the First Alert Weather Team. Download our app. Now, coming up, we have Michael Yoshida in the First Alert Storm Tracker getting our first looks at Volano Beach. We're going to have that for you coming up.
For the past 3 years, we've been working hard, whether it's bringing over $1.5 million back to our veterans here locally, ensuring our seniors are taken care of, and bringing businesses back to the district to create jobs. We've been here at home working because that's what you care about, and that's what I care about too. Not mudslinging by career politicians. Remember this? I'm Ted Yoho. I approve this message. How about you?
I had experienced night sweats. I couldn't focus. I had weight gain. My joy of life was gone. Within 3 weeks of hormones, I began to feel like my old self. I began to exercise because I wanted to, and I had the energy to do so, which increased my metabolism, which increased my weight loss. So I love Dr. Randolph.
Please visit agelessandwellness.com to learn how we've helped thousands of patients like you.
Hurricane Matthew.
At this hour, it's closing in on Jacksonville.
Action News Jax.
This is no dress rehearsal anymore. This is the real deal.
Trekking every turn.
Very heavy band just lashing St. Augustine.
The first alert storm trekker headed straight into the storm.
How many kids are in there? Have you called for help?
Storm surge, flooding. No other station is more prepared to keep you safe.
We are going to be there with you. Stay where you are.
CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax.
Smart is the new